Hi. To start off, there is nothing good about a tragedy, and that is what this is. The bombings at the finish line of the Boston Marathon are every bit a tragedy. Perhaps the one thing that sets these so described tragedies apart from all of those other incidences that are also tragic in nature, but have different titles and get lesser news coverage, are the impact that they hold on larger communities. The September 11th attacks, the shootings in Sandy Hook and Colorado, and now the attack in Boston. They've all created this overwhelming fear across more than the city and even the state that they happen in. They infiltrate the minds and the worries of people across the whole country, and in some cases, the world. They impact people's sense of self and their safety. And they make those of us who often feel safe, empowered, and even emboldened to be our truest selves in daily life suddenly weak and questioning. Effectively, second-class citizens. These tragedies give us pause regarding the very thing that comes most naturally to us: being. If nothing else, and there likely will be nothing else, this feeling of uncertainty has a value that goes far deeper than the fear that we might have for a day or a week when considering whether to go to the movies or if we can take our dog for a jog. This feeling of uncertainty, the one that so many of us were allowed on Twitter and on Facebook after Colorado, and again after Sandy Hook, and now in the aftermath of Boston, is one that many people around the world have every day. This feeling of pervasive fear that exists in being surrounded by the unknown, the one that so many of us are lost in right now, is not a temporary feeling for a girl who has been raped, or for the mother of the victim of a drunk driver, for a bullied teen, for a GLBT youth in rural anywhere, for the lone Islamic family in a Judeo-Christian centric town, or for anyone who feels the glare of passive racism because they are not of the ethnic majority in the place they call home. I mean no disrespect in making this comparison, but believe me, this feeling that we have at this moment will pass, the same way it did after the shootings in Sandy Hook and in Colorado and after the tragedy in New York. Yes, this feeling will pass. But the one concrete thing that we can take from these tragic bombings in Boston are a consideration for how truly helpless and afraid so many of us feel right now. Bottle that feeling in your long-term memory as well as you can and keep it with you the next time you find yourself looking with indifference at a person living on the street or bemoaning a first-generation immigrant for trying to get valued work in your town. See, the one constant held by a majority of the families of the victims of tragedies like this is that their loved ones not have died in vain. That the victim's legacy live on in the form of a world that has forced itself to change in response to the tragedy that took their lives so needlessly. If we can make our collective response to this tragedy the extension of humanity and dignity to those around us, instead of just a temporary fear of the unknown, we not only grant the victims an honor that they so rightly deserve, but we deny those who caused this tragedy the very thing they were after in the first place. And that would be something good to stand behind, now and forever.